A lot of students struggle with finding things like the gradient of a line, midpoint, and the equation of a line. If you're one of those students, I'm here for you. I'm going to be giving you some really easy and useful tips on how you can ace the section on relations, functions, and graph in the CSEC Math Paper 1. So here we go. And by the way, there's a video on every single CSEC topic. So if you check out the other videos on the channel that focus on the paper 1 topic by topic, I give you some excellent tips on how you can master section by section so you will get your straight A profile. So for relations, functions, and graphs, let's get right into it. Now, this is one of my favorite topics. Next to algebra, I love me some graphs. Now, relations, functions, and graph. The first tip for the functions, remember that every x has only one y for it to be a function. What makes a relation a function? Each x value maps onto only one y value. You can have a relation that is not a function. So if each x maps on, you can have a one-to-many, many-to-many relation. Those are not functions. So basically, if it goes to many, it's not a function. You can have a one-to-one function or a many-to-one function. So once it's going to one y value, it's a function, and there's a vertical test that you can use, which will be my second tip. So if you're given a relation diagram with, the little bubbles and the arrows going across, just look at the arrows. If they're going from 1x to only 1y, then you know it's a function. Or 2 or more x's, but they are going to only 1y, it is still a function. That's a many-to-one function. So let's say you're given the coordinate pairs 2, 3, and 2, 4, and you're asked to decide, is this a function or just a relation? How would you tell? So in the bracket, coordinate pairs 2, 3. So 2 for the x, 3 for the y, and then you have 2, 4. 2 for the x, 4 for the y. That is not a function because in the first place, the 2 is going to 3, and then the 2 in the second is going to 4. So we have the 1, 2 for x, but it's going to 2 different y's. So it will definitely not be a function. So my second tip has to do with the vertical line test. And this would come in handy if you're given 4 options in your multiple choice and you're asked to see which one of these is a function. So you're given 4 diagrams, 4 little graphs. Maybe one has a linear, one has a line, one has a parabola, one has some other kind of graph, right? How do you test? Just by looking or by making some lines? Is it a function? So for the vertical line test, if you can draw a vertical line, so a line straight down through the graph at any point on the graph, and it cuts the graph twice or more, it is not a function. When you apply the vertical line test to a graph, it should only cut the graph at one point, no matter where on the graph you put that vertical line. My third tip, let's say, for example, you have f of x equal to x plus 1, and they want you to find f of 3. So this is called finding the image of x. All you have to do, don't be scared. Don't be scared now. All they want you to do is to plug in or substitute that 3 where x is in the function. Remember, in relations and functions, we write f of x instead of writing y. But it pretty much means the same thing. So you want to know what is y when x is 3. So f of x equal 2x plus 1. Yeah, I want to find the image of x for 3, f of 3. Plug in the 3 where x is. So it will be 2 times 3. So you bracket and put in the 3. 2 times 3 is 6, plus the 1, that's 7. Easy peasy. My fourth tip has to do with the gradient. Now remember, if you are given the equation y equal mx plus c in that form, all you need to do is look at the coefficient of x, and that will tell you the gradient. So the number in front of x, once it's in that format, y equals something x plus a constant number, the number in front of x is your gradient, right? However, let's say you're given 2 points, 2 coordinate pairs, your x value and y value, x value and y value, and you're asked to calculate the gradient. Remember, it's rise over run, rise over run. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So your second y value minus the first y value divided by the second x value minus the first x value. And that will give you your gradient. And if you're given the graph, how can you know if the gradient is positive or negative? So if it is going uphill from left to right, it's a positive gradient. Tip number 5. So remember our general equation for the straight line, y equal mx plus c. M is the gradient and c is the y-intercept. The constant term, that number at the end there, the c, it tells you where the line is going to cut the y-axis. So let's say for the same equation we got y equal 2x minus 3. 2 is the coefficient of x, so 2 would be the gradient. Negative 3 is a constant term, so that will be our c, and it tells us that the line is going to cut the y-axis at negative 3. Tip number 6, parallel lines. Remember, parallel lines have the same exact gradient. If you have 10 lines that are parallel, all 10 of them will have the same gradient. So if you are told that you're dealing with parallel lines, just know that the gradients will be the same. Y equal 2x minus 1, y equal 2x plus 5, different equations, same 2 in front of the x, so you know that those lines are parallel. So if you're asked to determine if these lines are parallel, look for the option where the same coefficient is in front of x. If the equation is not yet in the form y equal mx plus c, because they'll try to trick you, so you have to get it in that form first. Transpose, bring over everything to the right and leave the y alone on the left. And then you can look to see if the same number is in front of the x, and that's how you know if they have the same gradient. Tip number 7 now, perpendicular lines. Now, if 2 lines are perpendicular, their gradients should multiply to give negative 1. That means their gradients are the negative inverse of each other. So if one gradient is 2, the other gradient is negative a half. The inverse of 2 is a half, and it should be the negative inverse. So if one gradient is 3 over 4, the perpendicular gradient is negative 4 over 3. So if you're asked to determine in the multiple choice which line is perpendicular to the given line, just look at the coefficient of the x term, and if they are the negative inverse of each other, or if you can multiply them to get negative 1, then you know they are perpendicular to each other. They meet at right angles. Tip number 8, a common error used when plotting graphs. So for example, if you get a coordinate pair 2, 3. So 2x, 3y. Remember, the 2, you move on the 2 first. So you move to the positive x, so 2 to the right, and then you go up for the 3. So for the x, we move either to the right horizontally for positive x, or to the left horizontally for negative x. We move on the x first. And then for the y, after we move on the x, from that same point on the x, you move up for positive y or down for negative y. Okay, so that's a common mistake. Now, you're not going to be plotting a graph in the multiple choice, but you might be given graphs to interpret, and you have to know to derive the coordinates from the given graph. So just remember, you would have moved on the x first, horizontally left or right, and then move up or down for the y. Tip number 9, solving f of x equals 0. So where the graph cuts the x-axis, those are the roots of the equation. Well, for the linear, it's going to be one solution, one x and one y. If you get a quadratic, more than likely you're going to have two solutions, two x's and y's. So you have an x and y and another x and y, because typically a quadratic equation produces a parabola, which generally cuts the x-axis at two distinct places. So you would take your x value and your y value. Tip number 10, where it has to do with inequalities on the graph. So remember, we can also have inequalities greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. So if y is greater than 2x plus 1, it means that you will be shading above the line. If it's less than, you'd shade below the line. They can throw in some questions like these, and you have to know how to read the graph and interpret it. Even the number line can be used to show inequalities. So remember, if the circle is shaded above the number, that means greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. If it's unshaded, it's just greater than or just less than. And you look at the arrow to see whether it's going to the right for greater than or going to the left for less than. All right, so tip number 11, the distance between points. Now on the graph, really the formulas that are derived for length of the line, equation of the line, they're really based on Pythagoras' theorem, right? So you can apply your Pythagoras' theorem if you're asked to find the distance between points. A squared plus b squared equal c squared. Okay. Same, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. They were originally derived from Pythagoras' theorem, because if you have a straight line on the graph, you can complete that right angle and use the formula. Tip number 12, so for the midpoint, if you're asked to find the midpoint of the line, or you're given options to select what is the midpoint of the line, remember the formula for the midpoint, x1 plus x2 all divided by 2, which will give you your x value, and y1 plus y2 all divided by 2, which will give you your y value. Remember, the midpoint is an actual coordinate pair, because you want to know halfway down the line what is the x value and what is the corresponding y value. Okay, so it's one single answer in bracket, a x value and a y value. Tip number 13, remember you can eliminate the answers that are not possible, the absurd, ridiculous answers. There will be one and two of those. That's how multiple choice is constructed. So you must be able to screen out those options and narrow down your choices so you can make the best choice. Even if you have to guess, make a sensible guess. So if you're asked, so if the function is f of x equal x squared for f of negative 2, for example, you know the answer cannot be negative 4 or negative anything, because once you're squaring a number, the answer is positive. Even if you're squaring a negative number, the answer must be positive. So just remember the rules, the basic rules, and use them to eliminate answers that are definitely not possible. Tip number 14, for for CSEC, we basically deal with linear graphs and nonlinear, which usually quadratic, right? So the quadratic would be ax squared plus bx plus c, that's a general formula, or y equal x squared for the simplest form. It typically will produce a curve, and we call that curve a parabola. If the coefficient of the x squared term is positive, you're going to get what we call a smile. Positive for smile. If the coefficient of the x squared term is negative, we'll get a frown. So negative for frown. So if you're given 4 graphs and you're asked, what is the possible equation of this graph? You can rule, if you have a smile, a parabola that's shaped like a smile, like a cup, like a U, you can rule out all answers that have a negative x squared coefficient, because those would not produce a smile. Okay? So for the quadratics, you can use that as well. And my final tip, tip number 15. Now, when you're reading the graph, for example, x equal 2, and you're to find y, the corresponding y value, you might be given a domain. Remember, your domain is your set of x values, right? And your codomain or your range would be the corresponding set of y values. Now, you can rule up, actually, I love to tell my students, rule up a table, put in your x values, put in the equation on the left-hand side, and step by step, you work out what are the corresponding y values. For a straight line, you really only need 3 points, 3 domain, the end points, and I like to throw in 0 to see what's happening at the origin. For your quadratic, though, it's better if you do use all numbers in the domain. Because it's a curve, you want to see what's happening at every single point, because it's not a straight line, so it's actually going to be curving. So those are my tips. If you follow these tips, you'll be good to go for your relations, functions, and graphs section of your multiple choice CSEC. And if you watch the other videos, we go topic by topic, listen to the pointers and follow them, and you definitely will be good to go.